So you're thinking about going to school, or maybe you want to get a blue collar job, become a tradesman. The question is, what should you do? I'm the failed author. Today we're going to be discussing this a little bit. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so. Let me know if there's a topic you want to hear. As always, I'm posting classic Battlefield, Call of Duty videos, different things that interest me, firearm videos, bowling. I like bowling. Bowling's good stuff, but I'm kind of testing this out, doing this more deep dive into, I'm just going to call it the human experience, and I enjoy talking about these things. And one thing I have noticed, and it hasn't been a relatively new thing. It's been years growing. Is this kind of divide I've seen in people when it comes to attitudes towards their work, and I mean this in the let's just break it down in the simplest terms. There's almost this divide between those who go to college and get a job after, or those who don't and maybe pick a blue collar job or go into a trade. The simple answer is this: they are the same. End of discussion in my mind. Now I know what you're going to say. Well, obviously they're not the same jobs. Let's take white collar jobs, lawyers, and let's just say professionals, educators, doctors, architects, whatever, things that require, some sort of degree possibly in doing that is what we're going to consider here. Or tradesmen, being the typical blue collar jobs, construction, plumbing, those kinds of things, just real briefly. Why I say they're the same is because as workers, this is a two-sided coin, and we're dividing them, again, on our own, unprovoked, right? One side being this, one side being that. What is better, you may ask? Well, ultimately, this listening is, this comes down to your preference. What are you going to do? What is the person you want to be? What is the person in life do you want to carve out? That is the question you have to ask, because from that answer, you then have to figure out what route, what lifestyle you're going to go down. Whether that involves school, whether that involves becoming an apprentice and growing in a trade and becoming some sort of professional in that regard. I don't like seeing us be so divided and so negative towards each other, because it only grows contempt and problems, and I hate seeing that. I hate seeing people call out people in education that, or I shouldn't even say in education, that are becoming a professional and getting a degree in that regard, where they're like, oh, you idiot, getting a student loan, blah blah blah. And it's, look at me, I'm 20 years old, I've been in a trade for 1 year, and I'm making this much money, and you're in debt, and blah blah blah. I see a lot of these people that'll do that, that'll say, you're an idiot, you have a student loan, but then have a $90,000 truck. Like a $90,000 truck, and you're going to be mad at someone trying to better themselves? You can't do that. What if they were like dogging you for, working a certain trade and making fun of you? Haha, you have to do this. And, now you see, you get where I'm going with this is when we get turned, on each other, as far as, it's an us versus them mentality, then nobody wins here. I think at the end of the day, let's be real, we live in a capitalistic society. Our economic system, we all know it. We've worked in it, a lot of us, for many years, decades even, right now. And if you're not understanding that if we don't stand in solidarity with your fellow workers at your job, whatever that job is, I don't care if you're, a janitor, you're a custodian, you're a professional, and you deserve the respect as much as a doctor deserves the respect. I don't like when we put so much emphasis on praising certain positions. Cops, firefighters, they all have difficult jobs. But the person listening to this video right now, that your job at times is difficult too. And more likely than not, you're not getting the time of day from society at large, right? Understood. That's all of us. So why are we making our lives worse and getting on to each other? That can't be something we're going to do. I don't personally partake in that. I'll never knock someone for their position. There's nothing wrong with working a job, providing and making a living for yourself or for your family. It doesn't matter what you are doing. That is what all of us have to do to get by. So remember that when you're talking to your friends or your loved ones, or maybe you're that person who's kind of made fun of somebody for being a specific trade or getting an education, and you think it's ridiculous and why would you do that? You're blah, blah, blah. Because I always go down this route. I think it's very smart, and I'm very grateful. My father was a construction worker, and I appreciate everything he did for my family, knowing the hours he worked, getting up at 3 in the morning, his whole career, many days on the road, not being there for certain things because he was providing for his family, right? I have nothing but love for unions and blue-collar workers because of what it provided for my family. I would not be here right now if it wasn't for the union my father was in, because they paid for IVF in vitro, and that is how I was made in a lab, folks. That's my standard joke, is I was made in a lab, So you can't be upset at somebody doing those kinds of things, much like you can't be upset. We can't have a society of just construction workers, right? We can't have a society of just nurses, right? We need that balance, and that's what makes us strong, is when we work together and we acknowledge those things and we accept it, and then we do it together. So I don't know. Is there's one better than the other? Again, that's up to you. Do you want to put in the grind? Trust me, you're going to be putting in a grind, right? You're going to work that blue collar. My dad blew his L7, L8 disc in his back, 2 torn rotator cuffs. He cut his finger off at work, got it completely severed off. He got metal in his eye and had to get his eye dilated so they could perform a surgery to get it out. There's a pro, there is a con to everything in life, and it's just a personal preference. And we need to stop doing this to each other. We need to stop making it us versus them. We are so similar when it comes down to it, and it's not even something we should be, arguing amongst ourselves, trying to debate what is better, right? What is better is what works for you, and everybody knows that deep down inside. And I don't think we should be, be petty and kind of break it down and, create division where division does not need to be created. I've actually done both. I was hired as a laborer for a construction company. I worked in the food service industry for 7 years, and I went to school and, and pursuing, a different route, right? I can't even believe I'm saying this because I never thought I would ever get an associate's, let alone a master's degree, but I earned a master's degree. And, honestly, down the road, I'm thinking about getting I always joke and say a PFD, but, a PhD, right? A doctorate. And if you like the Trailer Park Boys, that's why. Okay, he's got a PFD. And that's just where my life has taken me, much like how your life is taking you to where you're at. And you're going to find those things out too. And you're going to find, hey, maybe I don't want to go to school. Or you're going to find, maybe you get in that trade and go like, hey, my back and my shoulder hurts. And maybe I don't want to be doing this for the next 30 years. And maybe I should consider something else. But that's the beauty of it, if you're open with yourself and you're being honest with yourself. But you're not tearing down your fellow humans, your fellow man, because who does that benefit? That's not going to make you feel good. You're not going to feel good going to sleep at night knocking someone else. And trust me, we all do it at times. I'm no saint. I'm not going to sit here and preach that bullish to you, because that's just not me. I'm a flawed person like everybody else is. But what I can tell you is when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, okay, you have to answer and ask yourself these questions. What do I want to do? More like, what kind of person do I want to be? Do you want to be the person that is an online troll, a keyboard warrior, knocking someone for their hustle, not respecting their grind? Or do you want to be someone that people can rely on because they're a nice person and they uplift each other? Like that is, to me, like the person I would like to be and I strive for. And I'll live there, and I'll be comfortable with that. And no, let me put it this way: the field that I'm going into in education, it is not going to make me the richest person ever. What I want it to do is provide me with a comfortable living and have insurance for my family so I can support them. That is what I want. And if that is your goal, then consider what job gets you there, because that is what's working and hopefully going to work for me, right? But again, who knows? I may do it 5 years and go, and I'm out. I think my backup plan right now is enlisting in the Air Force. So we'll see. It's just one of those things I have to think about. And much like I'm sure you have contemplated different avenues in your life. So, college, blue collar job, which one should you pick? I mean, really, you know the answer. You know that answer is with you. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm the failed author. Please, if you like what you heard, or maybe you didn't, and I'm just being too ranty and too much of a Melvin, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if there's any specific topic you'd like to talk about, any specific game. I do have some Battlefield 3. I got plenty of Battlefield 3 clips. Modern Warfare 2, World at War. I'm just getting into Battlefield 4. I don't think I'm at a point where I'm trying to record yet just because I'm so ass at the game. But I am the failed author. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and bye. I'm going to leave it here. This was the, what gun is this? The M27 IAR. I kind of like that gun. I wish I would have used it more. It's actually really good. I think those light machine guns are so underrated with the bipod. And the holographic sight on most of them is just dynamite. And I know this is like the more AR-15, AR style, light machine gun. There's a couple more. They're similar, it has like a detachable magazine that's like you could reload it pretty quick, but I think this one being probably the better one, probably being one of the better light machine guns in the game too, so that was interesting. But if you like what you heard, if you like what you see, go ahead and follow around. We got plenty more coming. Thanks again, and bye.
Charge has been planted.